Purim is the final holiday that we were given. Purim represents the great light, like we mentioned yesterday, the light of Yesod Abba, a light that comes into the world and we realize, Ain Ode Milvado. Ain Ode Milvado, there's nothing but you, Hashem, and everything that you do, Hashem, is for the good. And on Purim, that comes very, very deep into my kishkas. And therefore, I realize on Purim that this guy didn't do anything wrong to me, and this girl didn't do anything wrong to me, and this one didn't do anything, because it's only Hashem. It's Ain Ode Milvado. And the Vilna Gaon said that Purim is the 9th, the final holiday we were given. So what's going to be the 10th?
The Mashiach.
Mashiach. It's going to be the final, the 10th.
So it'll be like an anniversary thing, where every day...
Like you mean you get like a, what do they call it?
Like
Eternity band.
Like a glass ring.
At 10 years, you get the diamond thing. So, Purim is this light of Ain Ode Milvado, absolute clarity, Ain Ode Milvado, that everything is happening from you, Hashem. And it becomes very, very deeply integrated, that truth. And all the mitzvahs of the day reveal that. Ain Ode Milvado. What are the 4 mitzvahs of the day of Purim?
Drink.
Mitzvah number 1 really is the mitzvah of the Megilla. Don't forget that mitzvah. Megilla Ester. The next mitzvah really is the mitzvah of Matanas Levyonim.
You did it right away after, right?
I collect for and I give out to poor people here in Yerushalayim and other places for Tesvav. People want to give. We're going to distribute to the poor Matanas Levyonim. And you should give a lot. More for that than other mitzvahs, which we'll talk about in a second. Matanas Levyonim. It's matanot, plural, le'evyonim, plural, which means 2 monetary gifts to 2 separate people, meaning 1 gift to one poor person and 1 gift to another poor person. You can give as much as you want. There are millions and probably billions, and maybe even more than that, of dollars that change hands on Purim, wads of cash moving everywhere on Purim, tons of money is moving hands on Purim, even though the halacha is that if somebody asks you for tzedakka on a regular day, first of all, what's the difference between matanas levyonim and tzedakka? Tzedakka is a mitzvah in the Torah that you have to give tzedakka, anybody that needs help, and the Jew is famous that we give tremendous amounts of money, mega amounts of money. There's somebody I know that I'm thinking about right now. He's a millionaire, multimillionaire. He gives millions away. He gives more than 20%. Millions of dollars he gives away. Yearly. Are you allowed to give more than 20%?
Depends.
Of course. If you make $100 million a year, how much money do you think you can give away?
Probably 90 million.
You can give 90% away, no problem.
Yeah.
You need $10 million a year to live. It could be you do. You're gonna have to talk to Hashem about that. Why you needed $10 million on your personal stuff. It could be. It could be that Hashem won't make a problem with that. But you're gonna have to. All this stuff you have to talk to Hashem about.
Maybe 95%.
After, so not $5 million a year. You say that's a conservative number, $5 million. So $95 million a year you could give away. There's such a thing. There's such a thing. You can't make yourself poor by giving to the poor. You have to be able to live modestly and nicely in a dignified way. It also depends what your wife wants. You say, I'm okay with giving away 99% of our income, but, we're going to be sleeping on straw. By the way, the Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva, the great Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva was the greatest Torah sage of all time. The entire Torah Shebaal Peh, everything is Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara says a story that Rabbi Akiva got married. Do you know who his wife was?
The daughter of the richest man.
That's right. His wife's name was Rachel. She was the daughter of Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua was one of the richest Jews here in Yerushalayim. He was called Kalba Savua. It wasn't his real name. It's a name just that was given to him based on something that he did. Kalba means what? Like a kalev,
Dog.
a dog. Kalev, and Savua means satisfied. So they said because anybody would come to his house, they'd be ravenously hungry like a dog, but when they would come out, they would be savur, they would be totally satiated, because he was a person that gave mega wealth and money around to the Jewish people and to humanity. So he wanted his daughter Rachel to marry a fine Talmud Chacham, a great Torah scholar. Was Rabbi Akiva that?
No.
He was Am Haaretz. In fact, he despised Torah scholars. He said, if I ever found a Torah scholar, I would bite him like a donkey. Why a donkey? Because when a donkey bites, it breaks the bone. Meaning real, seemingly anti-Torah. But Rachel saw there's something in this Rabbi Akiva. There's something inside of him that's going to be great. He's not what people think. And she encouraged him, and she built him up, and he went to learn Aleph Beis when he was 40 years old. When he was 40 years old. But his father, Rachel's father, said that I'm cutting them off. They have no access to the Centurion Black Card Amex. Nothing. Okay? They revoked it.
And not just a note, he also made a note. It wasn't just that he cut them off, he made a note that he's not allowed to...
That's right, with the neder. They were sleeping in, to call it a barn would be generous. They were sleeping in some granary where they just slept on straw. And that was their bed. And the Gemara said that Rabbi Akiva was sweet enough that if his wife got straw in her hair, he would pick it out. It was sweet to just, I want you to be comfortable. And then he told her, he said, when I become a rich man, I'm going to buy you the Yushalayim Shel Zahav. I'm going to buy you, that was considered the greatest piece of jewelry in the entire world. It's a headpiece, like a tiara, that was all made out of gold. And it had a picture of Yushalayim, the Jerusalem of gold, Yushalayim Shel Zahav. Just then, they hear a knock on the barn, and somebody comes and says,
I need some straw.
Now it's interesting, the person that came, the Gemara reveals to us that it was Eliyahu Novi, and he was dressed up as a person. In other places in the Gemara, it doesn't tell you that it's Eliyahu Novi, you have to kind of figure it out, but in this case, it says Elijah the prophet came, knocked on the door, and said, my wife just had a baby, we don't even have straw for her to lie upon. Maybe you have some straw that we could have? So Rabbi Akiva says, Baruch Hashem, we have straw. We do have that. And he gave it to her. And he said, Baruch Hashem, we have straw. Now, I don't know if you should try that. Meaning, I don't think he said look, we can't be that poor because, at least we have straw and he doesn't even have straw. I think he was saying it along the lines of, this person needs straw, let's help them out. And Rachel understood herself that Baruch Hashem, we have. But what I meant by this whole story is if somebody thinks that they can give away all their wealth, but their wife would not be happy because they're sleeping on straw, then you can't do that. Back to us, Matanas Lavyoinim, you should give a lot, as much as you can. So during the regular year, are you allowed to ask somebody, are you allowed to investigate where the money is going?
Yeah.
Could you be medactic on the charity, on what's happening, what this person's going to use it for? Yeah, in fact, it's appropriate to. That's why we have Gaboy Tzedakka. We have people that are in charge of distributing funds within our communities, is that they know was tutzach. They know what's going on with different people. They know who really needs and who's, maybe needs less. And they make sure the money goes to where it needs to go to.
But what if during the year someone does ask you for money and you say to give it to them?
So generally, the Gemara says that the Jewish people are rachmanim ba'ishanim and goyim lechasodim. They were naturally people that want to give, that want to help. They were naturally compassionate. We have a feeling like if somebody needs something, that's also why Israel, we send so many things to resources when there's tragedies around the world. There's pop-up hospitals here and in Turkey and the earthquakes. Hashem Yirachem. There's a need that the Jew just has to help. We have so many charity organizations. So there's a part of us that has to. That's why, by the way, it says if somebody is very not forthcoming or very stingy or very cruel, we question them being Jews.
We have Hatzalah.
That's why we have the Hatzalah, the whole Hatzalah. I was also in Canada this summer, and something happened with our car, and I didn't know this growing up. My wife's like, just call Chaverin. Like, what's chaverim? She's like, you don't know what chaverim is? It's like, I don't know, like, yeah, what is it? She's like, just call this number. I'm like, hi, my car, where are you? We're coming right away. I'm like, do I know you? Hi there, my name is Moshe, where are you? We're coming, it's like one of those, like, and he just shows up. We start schmoozing and hacking around. He's like, show me all of his things. He had this cool jumper thing that didn't have to be plugged into a car.
One of those battery.
The battery things. Yeah. I was like, I gotta get one of those. He's like, here's a good brand to get. You should get this one. It's a bit more expensive, but it's worth it. Can I pay you something? He's like, I got you, bro. It's all good. And then it's like a second guy rolled in afterwards, like, everything good here? Everybody, it's like, thank you. I made a donation to them. Just, thank you to the chaverim, because that was also part of it. There's a system set up. You need roadside assistance, anything, we're there. It's an unbelievable thing. Hatzalah, volunteer paramedics. They want to help people. Jews, non-Jews, everybody. Let's just help human beings. There's a natural givingness. That being said, you have to have your head on your shoulders. And if somebody is a scam artist, so you don't invest, you don't give to them. You have to know. That's why we have Gabbai Tzedakka. You don't want to invest. If this person says, give me some money, and he's going to smoke crack, Hashem Yirachem, so then you don't do that. It would be cruel to give him money.
But if some, like, this kid came like, hey, can I get some money for food? I'm like, okay, here, I could give you 10 shekel.
In general, it's a good thing to give. Don't become one of these people, I don't want to. It's a good thing to keep money on you. Small change, just that you can give. You can give $1, you can give $2, you give $5. You can give. It's a very good midah. You want to be a giver. The Rambam says, famous Rambam, if you have $100, should you give $100 to one person or give $1 to 100 people? What do you mean? Why would I do that? I can give one person $100.
It'll help you work on your midas to be more.
Because not only is the charity about the other person, obviously it is, and if you can give $100 and more to many people, that's great. The charity is about making you into a giver. So when one person comes to you and you say, okay, here's $100. Okay, I'm done. So 99 of the people, you're like, sorry, bro, can't, sorry, can't give. Imagine 99 times. No, I'm not giving, 99 times. That was like 6. Another 93 times. I'm not giving. So imagine every time you get into that habit of giving. That's also why in shul we walk around with the pushka, right? The little change box. All the time. You want to get into the habit of giving. All the time. Every time. So keep some prutas in your pocket. Some shekel coins. That you, all the time, that you become this person that somebody asks, you're basically as much as you can. You always want to be giving. Because when you give like that, you become like Hashem. Hashem gives. Olam chesed yiboneh. Hashem's giving and giving and giving and giving. You could be like God. Just keep giving and giving and giving. So generally, yes, you want to give as much as possible, all the time. So what's the difference with Matanas Lavyayin? What's the special mitzvah of Purim? The difference is, Yankel?
I'm going to say it doesn't count for Meiser.
It's true, it's not part of Meiser. Also, by the way, tzedakka is not part of Meiser. Tzedakka is its own thing. There's Meiser and then there's tzedakka. You have to give Meiser 10%, Chaimish 20%, ideally. A Jew is supposed to give 20% of his income, like that. It comes ideally. Okay, we'll talk about it on a private level if you think that you want to take that challenge upon yourself.
Taxes.
So there's such a thing about doing it before taxes. There is such a thing. There's such a thing the second that you get it, you just get it out.
Because you don't want to train, you don't want to have, give the hard time to play around with you. Or...
That's right. It comes into the account, you get it out. There's such a thing, okay, after I deduct my expenses, and after I deduct my rent, and I deduct my taxes. There's some people do it after all that. There is such a thing of doing it right away.
Is it optional?
Mice is not really optional. It's not really optional at all, and this is the one area that the Torah says, test me.
I thought it's you have to give 10%, but then if you want money back, you give 20%.
So I heard from my dear friend, Igal, the 10 to maintain, 20 to build, increase. So I like that. 10 also is more than maintain. 10, it says, Ma'aser, give Meiser, Kedei Shetis Asher. If you give Meiser, you become rich. So you'll also become rich with mice, you become mega rich with chaimish.
I was told if you give to like a certain organization for like the band that don't have money, then you like kind of automatically become rich or something like that.
The best thing is to support scholars, Torah people that are teaching, especially in your community. The next thing is the general community that you're in. Aniya ircha koidman. We want to help the whole world.
Yeah.
But you should help children in Ethiopia, but don't help them before somebody in your own community needs extra funds. The people in your community come first. You go in what are the concentric circles? Thank you very much. Concentric circles going outwards.
The people that need it more.
If there's people in your community that are starving or that have, sometimes need varies. If somebody has lawyer's bills because they're going through a sticky legal battle and it's making him depressed and he's getting, that could be very, very important.
There's also people starving that you could give them money.
So you should also give if you know that people are starving, but Hashem put you in a situation where right now you need to give to people in your local community first.
If you want these people, maybe he'll move you somewhere else or have like a business trip or whatever.
Correct. Make sure to give. If you can help, Africa, that's great, or wherever there's poverty. But help first in your community, first your family, and any Torah learning happening in the community, and then the wider community, and then you keep going out. And ideally, if you have money, you want to give it to the whole world. The idea of the Jew is that we want to help all of humanity. We want to give to every good cause.
And it's 20% of your profit, right?
So like we said, some people give from revenue. There's such a thing. You got to be on a high level to do that.
Revenue is like partner with Hashem, right?
Because really what you're saying is that as soon as I get the revenue in, I'm giving this 20 because I know where is my revenue coming from. The merit of the 20 that I just gave. So my ongoing revenue is only going to be bolstered up because I just gave this 20. So I'm going to have a higher revenue next time, and then I'll have a bigger 20, but where's my next revenue going to come from? The 20 that I gave. So I'll be able to cover the expenses because I have higher revenue coming in. You have to be on a high level though. Other people, if you're not on that level, we say, fine, take off it's profits, and then maybe after you pay your mortgage, and then after this, and you have spending money, then take 20%. But there are those that live on a higher level where they realize that God is literally running everything, and therefore you can give more than you think. So what's the difference though of regular tzedakka and matanas lavyonim? Matanas lavyonim is also not part of Truma and Meiser. And not part of Meiser and Chaimish.
Right, Tzedakka, they ask you for money, while Levio says you take the initiative to give them money.
There's also that. So there is an element, even though you can take the initiative and give your Meiser and your Chaimish.
Maybe you give it out to more friends instead of giving it to one person.
So you have to give at least two people. Matanot levyonim, two people.
Maybe tzedakka is only required to give it to like one person.
Tzedakka really is any time that somebody is in need. Tzedakka is an ongoing mitzvah anytime somebody is in need. So you could do tzedakka right now. If I come around with the pushka and I say that we're going to use this to help.
Purim is a mandatory 2 people, no?
Mandatory 2 people, yeah. There is a special mandatory 2 people. By the way, how much do you have to give? So the Gemara says the amount for a suda. They would trade meals, so it has to be the amount of a suda. So some say take the lowest level suda, whatever, now with inflation, so the price is more. So I don't know, what's a falafel with a pachit? A falafel with a
35, 40 shek?
40 shek for a falafel in a can of thing?
Like 25, 30. Shawarma is like 35.
Shawarma would be. So
that's inflation. Okay, we're looking at, what are we looking at? Like at least 6% a month nowadays in inflation. It's getting up there. Al Kopanim, what's the falafel at? 25?
Yeah, 25.
So in the times of Rabbi Yoshev, he said it was like 13. When I first came here, it was like for 10 shek you could get a falafel, a mana with a can of of Coke. So now it's 25. So whatever that is, like that's a basic meal. That is what you have to give for matanas lavyonim. So let's say 25. So that's the minimum. I'm sure there'll be some poskim that'll say you could get away with less. You're still yotzi. There are some poskim that say it could even be a pruta. It doesn't have to be a full meal, just some amount of money, a shekel. But nobody gives that. So at least a meal. However, Rabbi Yoshev said that you should give a meal that's choshev. You should give something that would make an ani happy.
It's like shawarma.
like a shawarma laffa with a beer, with a burgers bar with onion rings.
80 shek burgers bar meal is 80 shek.
At least.
80? We're talking 80 nowadays? It used to be 50. 50 was like...
You get the whole thing with the drink.
Yeah, I'm talking about the whole thing with the drink.
Just the burger
Something that
itself
if
is
you,
50.
Probably 80.
something that you would give to an ani and be like, this is a geshmaka suda. So it depends on the ani. If he needs red heifer, so what are we talking at? 250? 300? 400? Okay. You should give something that would make a chashav suda, but that's only the beginning. Because the money that we're given is for the aniyim, for their Purim suda. That's why you should give money that they could use. That's why you give it and for the. So really, it's not only that.
Well.
It's for the food, but it's also for their whole year.
So do you get the money back for that? Because I know if you spend money for Shabbat, it's like,
Oh, you get it back, and then a lot more. So that's just the minimum. But the more you give, it's not just for their Purim meal. It says the aniyim's eyes are open and they're looking. They wait for Purim. They come early to shul on Purim morning because they know they're going to get a lot of money that's going to help them through Pesach. They're going to help them through the year. So it's a big time to give. But I want to just point out the last thing. What is the main difference between Matanas Levyonim and regular tzedakka? It says about Matanas Levyonim, Ain medaktikin b'ma'os Purim. When it comes to the money you give out on Purim, you don't ask anybody any questions. You don't interrogate the guy. If somebody says, "Can I have money?" you give. No interrogation. The rest of the year, you could look into it, you could find out, you could do an investigation. Is this person a scam artist or not? On Purim, you mamish give. Kol ha-poishet yad. Anybody who puts out their hand, nice and low, you give to them. Because you know what the secret of Purim is? Ain Ode Milvado. There's nothing but God. You think that's your money? It all belongs to God. Everything. Hashem just put that money into your possession to hold on to and hopefully do good things with. But it all belongs to Hashem. And therefore on Purim, you move so much money around because you're really confirming the truth that all this money, this is all Hashem's. He just wants me to use it in a good way. If I use it in a good way, I'll be rewarded. It's going to be good for me. And therefore on Purim, tons of money moves. And it's also the day of V'nahapachu, like we said. People who are rich can become the other. People who are poor can become rich like that. So it's the day that if you want to become rich, I don't mean just physically, I mean spiritual. The more you give, the more you'll see tremendous blessing. We should be Zoich HaMamish to truly, the Matanas Levyonim, that Hashem should also shower us with those gifts. Because it says, Kol ha-poishet yad, anybody who reaches out their hand on Purim, which means spiritually, Hashem will give us mamish all the things that we need. We should be Zoich to that. Amen.
Amen.